Davis here with Action Coach. So I'm sure this year you set your goals, but you want to know, are you going to make your goals? You want to be able to predict your future. So I'm going to show you a tool that you can use that will both drive you forward towards your goals, but also allow you to measure your progress before it actually happens. In other words, you're going to predict your future. And this is the way it works. So you start with what are your target results. You work backwards to know what are the outputs that you need from your marketing and lead generation activities that are going to drive those results. And then what this does is it creates a target for the year, for the month, for the week, and the day, so that you know what you need to do each day to get the results you want. And then as you measure them along the way, you can see are you ahead of pace or behind pace based on your leading activities, which is your actions. So let's take an example of a business that wants $1.2 million in revenue. So we're going to put 1.2 is their revenue target. And to do that, they're going to need they need 200 clients, 200 customers. Okay, so they have their 200 customers, and they realize that they win 1/3 of the jobs that they quote. So to have 200 customers, they need to generate 3 times. If it's 1/3 of the quotes they make become clients, so they need to make 3 times as many quotes. Okay? And then, so quotes means they need to make connections. So what's the ratio of number of connections? And maybe they've determined that their connections is 5-to-1. So if quotes, I should put a Q here, if quotes are 600, then the connections they need to make is 5 times 1 and 5. So that means they need 3,000 connections during that year. Okay? And let's say that they've chosen some marketing activities, lead gen activities. It could be emails out, it could be cold calls, whatever it may be. Let's say that ratio is 10-to-1 for your marketing actions. So your marketing is 10 times your 3,000. So they need to take 30,000 marketing actions in a year. Well, that sounds like a big deal. That sounds like a very hard thing to do. So, but let's break it down by day. Get all the way down to the day. So if you want $1.2 million in a year, that means you need $100,000 per month. Or that means you need to generate $25,000 in a week, or $5,000 a day. So they can start measuring their progress. Are they getting $5,000 in revenue each day? Are they ahead or behind pace? So that's their first measure. Next thing is their number of customers. 200 customers over 12 months means they need to generate 16.7 customers per month. Per week, that means they need 4.2, because you're going to divide that by 4, and you're going to divide the number of weeks by the number of days you work. Let's say you have a 5-day work week, and that means that you need 0.8. So you just need to generate 1 customer per day to hit your $5,000 per year, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we work backwards from that. So you need to have quotes. You need to make 600,000 or 600 quotes in a year. Well, you divide that by 12 months, you really only need to create 50 quotes in a month. You divide that by 4 for the number of weeks, and you need to generate 12.5 quotes in a month, which is really, divide by 5, it's only 5 quotes a day. Certainly a doable number of quotes for any business. So you say, well, connections. Well, then they need, if they're going to create 600 quotes, they needed 3,000 connections. How many connections do they need to make in a day? So it's 3,000. You divide that by 12. That means you only need 250 in a month. Divide by 4, and that gives you 62.5 in a week. And then divide that by 5 to give you 12.5 in a day. It means you need 12.5 connections in a day. I know it looks like a lot of math, but you can do this once and set it and forget it. I can help you out with that. So then your actions. Now you're thinking, well, I need to do 10 times as many. I need 30,000 connections. What am I going to do? What does that look like? Well, 30,000 in a year means, or 2,500 actions, whatever you decide that to be, it's a connection point. 2,500 per month divided by 4 is 625 per week, which is 125 per day. Now, with that information in hand, you can say, what can I do 125 of per day that is going to generate my 10 connections or my 12.5 connections? Okay, so you may say, okay, that's going to be phone calls, that's going to be emails, that's going to be social engagements, whatever it is. So now that you know your ratios of actions to output to results, and you've broken it down, you can figure out what is the exact target each day that you need to do. Measure your pace every day, every week. Measure your performance, and you're going to know, are you ahead of pace, your goals, or behind pace. Well, if you see that your output is generating a greater return or a lesser return, you need to make a change. So here's how the data and the information in your business, if measured daily and regularly to a plan and schedule, can predict your future of $1.2 million in a year. Hope that makes sense. If you got questions, give me a call. We'd love to work this out for you. Again, it's John Davis with Action Coach. If you like this message, feel free to send it along to anybody else that you know that's a business owner who wants to hit their goals this year. Thanks.